What's up guys, it's Ariel and welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking all about autism, what it actually means and how it affects our kids. Before we get started, make sure you like this video and share it with a family who may be in need. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post videos weekly on all things sensory, special needs, and staying sane. Let's get started. What is autism? Autism is something pretty big. You know, Autism Awareness Month is actually in April, so I thought what would be a better time than to dive down deep into this topic and give you guys a little bit more insight. So, autism is actually a developmental disorder. It affects the way a person thinks, the way they behave, the way that they learn, their ability to solve problems, communicate, and even interact with others. Think about it. How would these things affect you if you were on the autism spectrum? Let's dive into it. For starters, we wake up every morning and we get dressed. Now, you probably don't think too much into it other than if your hair, your earrings, and your clothes are going to match and if you'll look cute for the day. But imagine that you couldn't tolerate clothes that were itchy or scratchy. Think like a polo shirt or a jacket that was long sleeved. You don't like things like this because your mind is programmed a different way, and that's okay. Imagine you had to wear a uniform for work, maybe a red polo shirt. We don't like the way the red, scratchy, itchy polo shirt feels. And we can't forget about the tag in the back of the shirt. That's uncomfortable too. But we have to wear it. Think about how hard this would be if your favorite color is blue. Now, yes, I understand that we have to wear a uniform, but we kind of associate red with all things negative and all things bad. We're associating it maybe with a stop sign in our head. We can't wear the color red. This is going to give us anxiety and possibly even cause a meltdown. Now, this was just an example scenario, but it's something I want you to think about when you think about individuals on the autism spectrum. Everyone thinks differently, and things affect people differently. If you haven't heard of autism, you may have heard it in a slightly different variation. There's ASD, which just stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder, and the whole spectrum is actually broken down into 3 levels. Each level just varies depending on the level of support that the kiddos may need. I could talk about those in another video. Let's go over a few different traits that are pretty common for those on the autism spectrum. Inability or trouble with making consistent eye contact. Now, we know how important eye contact is, especially when you're communicating. If I'm not looking at you while I'm filming this video, let's say I'm looking over here, or maybe even here. You're gonna look at me and wonder, what is she looking at? What is she doing? Things aren't the same when I'm not making eye contact with you, are they? It's actually a high-level skill, and it requires a lot. Sometimes it's hard for our individuals on the spectrum, but that's okay. We'll get there. Lining up and organizing items. It can be anything. Blocks, toys, spoons, shoes, whatever's nearby that our mind is telling us to line up, sequence, organize. We need to have control over this thing. And if you come and mess up this thing, it may cause a meltdown, but this is just another trait that's pretty common for individuals on the spectrum, and it's okay. Think about the things that you and I do daily. If you like your kitchen cleaned a certain way, or think about your makeup stuff. If you organize your makeup brushes and your palettes and your colors a certain way, and someone were to come and mess that up, how would you feel? A lot of times for children on the spectrum, it's hard for them to learn to keep their hands to themselves and stay in their bubble, especially when they see something that they like. It's a lot easier for them to kind of follow those impulses that their brain's giving off. Ooh, I like that. You want to grab, you want to touch, you want to make it yours, or you want to play with it. Or you see something and it makes you happy, or you see someone, you want to give them a hug. Can I come up and kiss you? But a lot of times the kiddos don't ask before doing these things. And it's not because they're being rude, it's just because that's the way that their brains are wired. They want to go after whatever it is that's making them feel a certain way. Delayed social skills or difficulty with socialization altogether. A lot of times kiddos on the spectrum, in addition to having trouble with the eye contact, may not sit and have a conversation in the way that a typical child would. They may come and sit and give you random spurts and then run off, and then come back when something else pops into their mind and then run off. That's pretty common. You may notice that your child is highly infatuated with or obsessed with a specific toy or color or pattern or anything. To give you an example, my brother highly prefers red camouflage. Now, not just a red blanket or a red anything. It has to be a specific shade, a specific texture, and he likes all of his clothes to match. So it needs to be red camo shorts, typically with a gray shirt with a red camo design. And just recently we got some red camo designs to put on his red camo pants. Now, in my mind, I was a bit frustrated. I'm like, dude, come on. This isn't gonna match. But you know what? You get to choose your battles. Yes, I'm just an autism sibling. I am not his mother. But I want my brother to look cool. I want him to match. But if red camo is what makes him happy, that's all that matters. You be infatuated with your colors. Do you, boy? This one's a big one. Inability to handle changes in routine. Think about your routine. You get off of work, you might unwind, watch some TV, cook dinner, whatever order you do that in. Let's say specifically, you come home, watch TV for a little bit, and then cook dinner. Now, let's say you come home and someone changed your routine without warning, without planning, without gradually exposing you to this new thing. Instead of you coming home and watching TV and then cooking dinner, now you come home and you're gonna clean, and then you're gonna watch TV, and then you're gonna cook dinner. How would you feel about that? Something completely new has been introduced to you. It's been changed. It's not what you had your heart and mind set on all day. It would cause a meltdown. Wouldn't you feel pretty frustrated if someone switched up your routine? I recommend teaching your children how to use visual schedules. I use them with several kids on a daily basis. All they are is little pictures with common things on them that show first this, then that. No stranger danger. You guys should be pretty familiar with this one. Think back to when you were kids. You were walking around, hanging out at the park. We knew not to talk to strangers. But a lot of times individuals on the autism spectrum, their brains are wired in different ways. We see people. We see friendly faces. We're not thinking about stranger danger. We could teach our kids to recognize specific faces, and over time, it'll come with time, just learning what's okay and what's not. Poor safety awareness. These are the kiddos who may dart out into the street or run away from you in the store and just take off. A lot of times faster than what we can keep up with. These kids have poor safety awareness. It's important that we teach our kids and show them ways that they can still have fun without darting off. If your child is on a specific level of the spectrum and they have a hard time with this, don't worry. We will go over ways to help your kiddos who are kind of flight risk, we call them. Sensory dysregulation. That just means that our nervous system isn't organized in the way that works best for us. You will see anything from the over-responders, the kiddos who are hyperactive, can't sit still, always on the go, the busybodies, if you call it. They're not bad kids, guys. They're just hyperactive. There's ways to calm them down and control some of those impulses. And there's the under-responders, the kids who may not respond to their name initially when they're called. They may always seem slumped or bored or disengaged, but I have a video all about that. I'll link it down below. Things to keep in mind. No two individuals are going to be exactly alike. And some of the traits that we went over today, they're all going to be different depending on if you're a baby, if you're a teenager, if you are a preteen, a child, an adult, a geriatric individual. It doesn't matter whether you're an old man or a child. Things will vary along the autism spectrum, but you are awesome every single step of the way. My goal today was to break down the diagnosis of autism and make it just a little bit easier for you to understand. I've heard so many families say, we're given a diagnosis, we know that something's going on, but that's it. No one's really explained it. And they just kind of go to Google or Facebook groups. Those things are great, but I want you to get some understanding and some encouragement at the same time. Those things do really well when they're partnered together. So if you like this video or if it gave you any insight at all, make sure you leave me a comment and let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.